This, in retrospect, this does take up a part of my life. You know what I mean? So if I have something to share about it, you know what I mean, I could put it out there.
And it's keeping you sober, so.
Right. And again, I don't want to go there. I'm not going to go there and bitch about something that I should be talking to you about. You know what I mean? There's some things that with people, like normal people, that I have situations with or I have issues with. And you can't really talk to them because no matter what you say or no matter what you do, they're just not going to get it. They're just not going to get it. You know what I mean? And so, not only that, but I go there to because I know I'm not alone in this fight of the whole sobriety thing. You know what I mean? I know I'm not alone in this. And so that I go there to get the tools that I need to make it through another 7 days of this life, you know? And so to go there and use that format to try and promote this show, there's just so many other ways to do that, you know, than that. Now, if someone's to ask me about it and they say, hey, I heard you have a show, yeah, I'll tell you what's, you know what I mean? But I'm not going to go out there and just say, oh, you know. So it's I talk to very few people about it when it comes to that part of my life, you know what I mean? But most of them know about it anyway, you know what I mean? Now whether they listen to the show or not, I don't know, you know what I mean? And so, you know, it is what it is. But I try and keep that whole thing separate from what I do here, you know? And that sounds kind of weird because it's like when I come here, I do talk about the whole sobriety and I do talk about, you know what I mean, and the life changes and stuff like that. So, but anyway, it goes back to the whole attraction rather than promotion. You know what I mean? I'm not going to go out there and just throw myself out there and use that as a format to get the show out there. You know. So anyway, with that being said, podcasting.
And when it comes to the traditions and the principles of Sink or Swim with Wes and M, we're relying on promotions.
We have principles.
Well, I'm as you were talking, I came up with this pitch.
Okay.
I wasn't really listening to the gist of what you were saying, but I'm kind of using your words to capitalize on them.
Okay.
It's a gift I have.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
We rely on promotion rather than attraction. So one of the principles for the Sink or Swim show is promotion rather than over attraction.
Okay.
So anybody who wants to promote the show, it's almost
tell your friends.
Exactly. So we're relying on the promotion fact.
Right.
The promotion concept. So promote the show, please. Push the show like you have the next level of crack and you're a street level pusher and you want somebody to get hooked. And like they say, the first one is free.
The first one is free.
I don't know how we're going to capitalize.
Well, how do you make your money? You let me worry about that.
The second one and on is probably going to be free too. But it sounds like a good pitch. If you've got drugs and you want to say that first one is free, it's always scary. I want to get back to the evolution of how talk radio has progressed. So like I said, it went from terrestrial radio to satellite radio. And the satellite radio was a very small window. And I'm pretty sure if Howard Stern ever drops off of satellite radio, it's probably going to phase out. I mean, I'm sure there's still going to be a forum there. There'll probably be a forum for a long time. But I think podcasting is where it's at this point. Because everybody's going to the iTunes to get their music. And that's probably the biggest venue when it comes to putting something that you want to listen to in your pocket and taking it with you. I think satellite radio is just, it's pretty much limited to the car or those weird little players that can take what you've recorded off the satellite radio and then take that with you. But I think it's just better to have your phone, the iPhone where your music is attached to your phone. Everything is there. Your computer, your internet, everything is all right there. And I think that's going to be where it's at. But so when it comes to the artists out there, for talk. Howard Stern is probably the first person you think of when it comes to comedic entertainment. We're not college graduates.
No, we are not. I'm not even a high school graduate.
I've got a GED, so fuck off. If there's a shortcut,
well, you know what? If
there's a shortcut, I'll find it, and I did.
You know what? Even I'm not encouraging anybody to not get their education, because I, for one, think education is the key to the future.
Right.
You know. So, but that being said, even without an education, and even with my drug addictions and my alcoholisms and my isms and everything, when it came to having a job and holding a job. I've had plenty of jobs throughout my life, you know what I mean? And when I wanted something, I went out and I got it, you know what I mean? Unfortunately, through the acts of alcoholism and addictions, I've managed to lose those jobs. But, you know, it doesn't take a scientist to... If you want something bad enough, you can go out and get it. And these days, unfortunately, it's harder to do that, you know? I remember when I was growing up, do your 9 to 5 or 7 to 3 or 6 to 4, whatever it was. You could put money into a fund, you know, and you could send your kids to college, you know, and you could do all these things, and you could set up for retirement, you know. That was a possibility.
Well, let's move on.
Please. Wait, I need an aspirin. Give me an aspirin. You have any aspirins around here? Moving on.
So, right, back to podcasting. So when it comes to my influences, Howard Stern got me into. Once he moved to satellite, when he moved to satellite radio, he lost me, because I didn't. He was doing it on regular radio, which I could listen to it for free, and then when I had to pay for that subscription, and when it first started, it just seemed like it was out of my budget. So there was a big sense of loss. Like, a personality that I listened to every morning was now gone, and it felt like I lost a friend in a way, and I'm sure a lot of people out there felt that way. He was replaced by Adam Carolla. Adam Carolla was given an opportunity to work with Howard. Howard was going to bring him onto his show when he left terrestrial radio. And he was at a crossroads, and he decided, you know what, I think I'm going to take this thing on my own and see what I can do with it. He had been working with Dr. Drew on Love Lines. That was his radio experience.
Did you have the Man Show with Jimmy Kimmel at one time too?
He started with Love Lines, and then he worked with MTV and got exposure doing a television version of Love Lines, where people actually sat down on the panel and you could see them getting interviewed.
Okay.
And that gave him the exposure to be able to have experience to pitch his concept of the Man Show with him and Jimmy Kimmel. Then that got taken over, and then the politics changed, and he's like, I'm going to step out of it. So if I'm correct, he sold the show off, and they brought in Joe Rogan. And Joe Rogan did the show for a little while, and then it tanked. I'm pretty sure that's how it went.
Yeah.
But anyhow, Adam Carolla took over Howard's old morning gig on 97.1.
Yeah,
and he rocked it. Danny Bonaducci came in and tried to be his co-host for a little while, and it was like they used the reference. It was like having David Lee Roth and Sammy Hagar on stage together at the same time.
I can relate to that shit.
Two huge personalities competing with each other, and Adam Carolla is all experienced with segments and more organized, and Danny is more like fly by the seat of his pants, and it was compelling at times, but it was too much push and pull to try to get to a point.
Well, for me, the whole podcast experience, I feel like you have to be able to feed off of each other. You know what I mean? And once you learn that little rhythm, you know, then it works out a lot better.
Well, there's many dynamics.
Well, yeah, but
his format is, he's not a comedian. He can't go up on stage and entertain a crowd.
Right.
But he
can bring the funny.
he knows what funny is.
He can bring the funny.
He can do a compelling interview. He knows how to get to the root of an interesting conversation and getting people to talk about things that they normally wouldn't talk about.
Right.
And he recognizes talent to complement his character and his qualities of what's funny. And he surrounds himself with these super powerful people that know how to bring in entertaining sound effects, songs, interesting perspective on the news with Robin. Fred does the sound effects. Amazing. Jackie the Joke Man came in. He was a stand-up comedian, and he knew how to button. Button is like somebody says a comment, and he tags on that comment and makes it a funny statement. Then he brought in these people behind the scenes that give him ideas and references. Like while he's doing the show, he's got a monitor that's giving him like tons and tons of avenues of where to go and where the funny's at. Adam Carolla can do a stand-up show. He can go out there and entertain an audience by just talking about his past. He doesn't have an act. He just has a funny personality, and he can do Q&A where the audience can ask him a question and he can entertain them with just a response to that.
Right.
Totally improvised, no script, no coming in there with no idea of what he's going to talk about, and just boom, does a whole hour set.
Yeah. He's like the Robin Williams of talk shows.
Robin Williams does have an act.
Well, yeah, but I've seen Robin Williams go on shows, dude.
He can improvise too,
and they'll just like someone will go, give me an object, and he'll take a scarf,
right,
and he'll be like, oh, this is Iron Shepherd America, and just start going off, dude.
That is super talented,
and it's like holy shit.
So and again, Robin Williams is an amazing character when it comes to entertaining with comedy. He can improvise phenomenally, but he does work out an act to go up on stage with go-tos to talk about. Kevin Smith is entertaining, and his concept is interesting too, because he doesn't have a script either. He's just led a really funny life in the media with his movies, cartoon that he made, and scripts that he's done, and people will just ask him questions about his career, and he can entertain with that by just filling time by talking about his life in Hollywood. Tom Leykis was
never heard of him.
Total misogynistic pig. He talks about anybody can get as many women in his bed with as little money as possible if you follow my rules. Tom Leykis 101. And he literally tried to do like an educational course on how to be a player. And it was entertaining, and the way he would actually get listeners to tune in and talk about, oh my God, the things you're telling me to do are working. Like for instance, if you go to get money out of the ATM, look in the trash receptacle next to you and look for the highest readout of somebody's bank account. Like if you see like $500,000, grab that slip, because there's no corresponding information to who that person is, and keep it in your pocket. Next time you approach a woman, you want to give her your number, you write it on that slip and just hand it to them as if it's a piece of scratch paper. And then the woman will be like, holy shit, this guy's got a lot of money in the bank. I'm not going to lose this number. And it's his concepts work. I would never follow those principles. It's not how I think. But he knows how to get to the core of dating and manipulate women to get sex out of them without having to risk much at loss. And he doesn't believe in marriage and all kinds of crap. Anyhow, that was his version of entertainment and comedy to catering to his audience. About 5 years ago, I want to say, 97.1 went to the podcast, or excuse me, the iPod format of radio. They took away all of their vocal personalities and literally put up a theme of music will be on the station from now on. We're going to do pop music, and there will be a voice, but it's not going to be a person. It'll be just a person saying, you're listening to Jack FM, or you're listening to The Arrow, or whatever, and there's no person corresponding with that. So all of talk radio, that was the biggest FM talk station to date, and once Howard left, and then Adam Carolla and everybody on those shows, Frosty